If you're old, watch this movie. If you're young, especially watch this movie. The themes of this film will move you like it moved me. I guarantee it. Intrigued? Watch further. I'm enSUE and I saw The Substance. It is written and directed by Caroline Farragut. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. If you haven't seen this movie, I will spoil it for you. This is requested by Tony from Act the Movies, very famous YouTuber friend of mine. Thank you. Not further ado, spoilers ahead. The main character is Elizabeth Sparkle. She's 50 years old. She has a lot of achievements in her career. She did modeling, which eventually went to her acting career. She even has awards for it. And now we're at the end of her career on her 50th birthday. She feels insecure about this. I totally get it. The idea of staying young forever is heavily emphasized in society. For men, it's okay to look wrinkly. For women, it's disgusting. If you look like a witch with all the wrinkles on your face, you're repulsive and nobody wants to look at you. And nobody wants to be near you. However, if you're beautiful, everybody will be around you, no matter your personality. This emotional idiot stares at somebody taking one of her advertisements down from a billboard and doesn't pay attention to the road, getting herself into a car crash, going to the hospital, and someone at the hospital, one of the nurses, hands her a flash drive, already suspicious. Why would you just plug in a flash drive somebody gives you, which is what she does afterwards. Elizabeth plugs in a flash drive given to her by a stranger. Of course, it's a little bit more open about, oh, we got the substance. And originally, she throws it away, but then she realizes how old and saggy she feels. And so she's like, all right, I guess it's time for me to plug in the substance USB drive into my computer and learn about it. The promise of this substance is a more perfect, more beautiful version of yourself. Already highly suspicious. I would not do this personally. I would just handle being insecure 30% for the rest of my life instead of doing what this chick does for the rest of the movie. This is too much. There's too many steps involved. Whenever a solution takes too many steps, it's time to look towards another solution or just do nothing. That is a choice. That's a perfectly valid choice. A perfectly valid choice is to do nothing, and she does anything but nothing in this movie. Let me tell you why. Oh my goodness. I enjoyed this movie a lot. I am excited to talk to you about this film. If you haven't already, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button for them daily reviews. Premieres every day at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Let's continue on. Oh boy, am I excited about this one. Did I ever mention that she did aerobics? Oh my goodness. She was hot. Elizabeth orders the substance, and then she gets a whole kit to inject this activator. You inject it, and then anywhere, I guess in your thigh. And then a whole creature comes from out of her spine. And it's her younger self, or it's gross. It's an abomination. I can't believe what has come out of her spine. Here's the dealio. Every 7 days, you gotta go back to your old self. And you have to go back to your new self every 7 days. You can't slack or else you start coughing up blood. You got feed for yourself. Luckily provided by whoever these shady people are doing the substance. We never learn anything about the substance. Would you do this procedure in order to be younger again? I feel like people have one life. You only have one chance at this thing that's happening right here, right now. You only have one chance. You got one shot. You got to do everything you can take, everything that you can do. Everything has to be on the table. You have to do everything right, or else I feel like this woman did do everything right. And I think it's human greed at this point. It's not that she feels she didn't accomplish enough as a youthling. She accomplished plenty. She accomplished a ton. But she doesn't feel satisfied, and she feels old. And of course, if we lived in a society where the young women were just put such on a pedestal for so long, and I don't know, maybe older women were more appreciated, more respected. I understand why younger women are put on the pedestal societally, because, you know, you're fertile, and then when your eggs are dried up, bleh, who cares? You're just like a grandma now. You know, that's the mentality. That's the mentality happening here. So I totally get it. And she's crescent upon menopause. Her eggs are almost gone. No more eggs, no more chickens laying the eggs. There's a set amount of eggs when you're born. I get the appeal of being younger, but ultimately I feel you should live life as you want to now, instead of regretting it. I don't know what she's doing. Does she regret her decisions? I really think it comes from greed. It comes from she's been in this environment for so long, surrounded by people who love her. I also like how the beginning establishes, oh, well, all these people gas her up, be like, yeah, I can't believe you're amazing, you're awesome, it was great, it was a fun time hanging out with you, and all of her posters are on the wall, and I love that shot. That's like a memorable shot. Or all the posters on the wall. And then when she leaves and she notices that there's this ad for a new young hot chick. We need somebody who's doing the aerobics who is young. She uses the substance as an opportunity to be the younger self. And she has all the professional training, she has all the knowledge, and she has youth on her side. She instantly starts blowing up. She starts getting really busy. And of course, as the youths do, start getting very irresponsible. You know the whole 7-day, you gotta be the old, and then you gotta be the young. Well, the old lady starts to resent being the old lady because she's now young. Starts hating, has been hating herself the entire time. She's not taking care of herself as a youngin. She's not taking herself as a youngin to the point where she starts going over. She starts learning the consequences of what happens when you go over even just a few hours. And so she devises a solution. What if she takes spinal fluid out of the older lady? You know, they're both the same. By the way, the people who are doing the substance thing, the entire time they're saying, this is you. You are one. This is you. Stop referring to that other a version of you as another person. It's you. It's you. And the entire time, Elizabeth Sparkle keeps doing this. She keeps being like, oh, yeah, this is the younger version of myself. She keeps sucking. She keeps taking advantage of me. Right? While the younger version of herself, this new identity, Sue is like, oh, yeah, I'm just gonna be Sue for like weeks on end, with no regard for the consequences, until there's a point where she runs out of spinal fluid, and it builds up to this, right? I'm just kind of skipping ahead to it. She runs out of spinal fluid, and she's like, I have to go back to my old self, and this is months. It's like right after she's like, I hate you, I'm gonna be my own, I'm gonna be me, right? They're freaking going at war with each other, doing, oh man, I can't believe that you went over a few days, and so now my part of me is dead, okay? I have a thumb that's dead. And so she starts binge eating the most trashiest food, making the house look terrible, so the younger self has to deal with it. And she's like, I hate you, and that is what's causing all this spinal tapping until she has no more. And by the time that she gets there, you know what happens? This is all leading up to this big performance that the younger version Sue got. Sue got this New Year's Eve massive performance. This movie's been building up to it this entire time. Sue is like, okay, I'm gonna get this one special final night. But she, she has to be the old lady first in order to regenerate the spinal fluid. So she goes back to the old lady state, and she looks freaking deformed. She looks skinny. Her limbs are like, and she can't run at all because she'll just fall and break all of her limbs, which is what happens. And it's just like a terrifying sight. She looks like a monster. And so the theme of this movie seems to be that if you treat your body terribly when you're young, your old self is going to feel for it. And humanity is at a constant struggle when you're young versus when you're old. Like, the self is at a constant struggle. When you're younger, you want to do more experiences, do more things, do more fun things. But when you're older, you can't do as much as you could when you were young. And maybe you didn't save up enough money, and so you're struggling, and you don't have a retirement saved up or built up or whatever. And you only get one shot. This is the physical representation of what happens when you abuse yourself in various ways, whether it's like through chemicals or financial or like social, whatever it is. If you don't take care of yourself when you're young, your older self is going to feel it and really hate your younger self for the decisions that you made when you were younger. That's what this theme is. That's the relationship between Elizabeth Sparkle and Sue. Elizabeth Sparkle, she was a good 50 years old. I've seen old 50-year-olds. I've seen young 50-year-olds. She's on the young 50-year-old side. She looked like she was 40. I thought she was turning 40 when I first looked at her, and then I was like, oh, wait, the movie's saying she's 50. Oh, okay, wow, she looks really good. She has a lot, there's so much career potential. Instead of moping and doping on herself, she could have been like, I don't know, a MILF. I know she's probably not interested in that path, but honestly, she could have done a lot. She could have done art, she could have pursued some sort of creative passion, she has a lot of money, but instead, she shortened what few good years she had left. She probably had at least 20, at least. Look at her. She's in good health, she looks really young, and as long as you keep working, you pretty much stay alive until you work yourself to death. But that's all fun. She could have retired, she could have traveled, she could have enriched her life. But instead, she decided to do this. She decided to stay insecure. She decided to have a younger version of herself. And then she decided, as the younger version of herself, to abuse the older body until, guess what happens? Not enough spinal fluid, a little bit of like blood goes into the spinal fluid. She's like, okay, I gotta go turn back now. And, there's like boyfriends in the room, by the way, as a youngin'. Young self has boyfriends over, and they're like barging in to the old monster. They're like, it's like so funny, right? It's hilarious. This doofus, right? Young self, right after the scene that I described, she injects herself with the bad spinal fluid, and then her teeth falls out. All that fun jazz. Just don't sing, don't open your mouth, just be like, yeah, okay, But instead, she's like, okay, well, I've got to get my own spinal fluid and inject myself with that. Like, that's gonna work? Okay. And guess what happens? She turns into a Cronenberg. And you can't reverse it, you freaking doofus. Her solution is to take a paper take paper from a magazine and make a paper mask out of that from her face. And guess what? Nobody notices. This movie touches on a few themes. They're not noticing the women. They're just going in and out. The next big woman is the next big woman, and they're going to get all the love and care. And then when the next lady is up, the last woman is not going to get any love at all. They're actually going to get a lot of hate or a lot of ignorance or whatever. They're just not going to get the same treatment that they got when they were younger. And it seems to me this movie is saying that society values women more when they're younger than when they're older. But I think MILFs are really cool, and I hear hags are in. I'm not worried about that personally. MILFs are really cool. Do you like MILFs? Let me know in the comments below. Elizabeth Sparkle could have been a MILF, but she decided to become Sue. But Sue could have stayed a Sue, but toothless. But instead, she decided to become a Cronenberg. And then she goes up on stage. She reveals herself. Here's the big moment. She's got the mask. She looks weird. Everybody's smiling. They're like, what's going on? All the dancers, everybody in the audience, every single person is like, what's going on? They're all smiling. They're all holding a smile, but they're obviously uncomfortable. You can see it in their eyes. You can see it in the way that the face muscles are. You know, really good acting. And then this scene is really tense. There's a lot of dramatic irony. I know, as the audience person, she's about to go up there as the Cronenberg. What is everyone going to say about this? And then I get to see everybody's reaction. And then, you know, she starts singing and her mouth doesn't work. So she's like, at least I have teeth. At least I have teeth. Oh, I can't sing the words. At least I have teeth. I'm not pretty anymore, but at least I have teeth. You know, and then her mask falls off and she looks freaking hideous. She has like two faces. She has like one on her back and one on her face, and that's an abomination. And the one in the back looks like her real face. This is the Sue 1.0. This is Sue 2.0. And she's like, I'm still Sue. I'm Elizabeth Sparkle. And then she starts puking blood. And I'm like, yeah, dude. Why did you do this, you freaking idiot? This is what you get. You could have had life. You could have lived. And instead of living, maybe your back hurts for the next 20, 30 years, but at least you experience new things, you learn new stuff. Do things that old people can do. There are some things that young people cannot do. Even though you're like a young person, there are some things that society won't let young people do. Like chill out at a senior citizen house. So now you can. Good job. Now you can hang out with the senior citizens. That started off as a compliment, but that then just came out as an insult. Oopsie. But, you know, that's just funny. I just think it's okay. She should have been okay with it, but she was not, and she gets what she deserves. I like this movie a lot. Could you tell by the enthusiasm in my voice? I liked how it was shot. The beginning of the movie was very bright. It was the end of her career. She could have started another career in a different field, like done some arts and crafts or whatever. I don't know, pursued her passion. Maybe this was her passion. This definitely seemed to be her passion. Hence why she wanted to be young again, so she could do it again. But just find something else to do. Come on, lady. You only have one life. I also like how Sue, the colors were ramped up, very saturated. And then as the younger self got more angry at the older self, the values started to get darker, but still colorful. Also, I noticed that the old lady, whenever she's old, the more old that she gets, the lighter gets less light and more dark until it's like completely in the shadows. She literally sleeps in the closet. What do you think of this movie if you have seen it? If you haven't seen it, you should go check it out. I do recommend it. It will blow your brains out. There is a lot of gore in it. If you like Cronenberg stuff, I think you will like this one. And it's a good message, and I would describe it as a thriller for sure. Leave them comments in the comments below. I gotta give this one. I enjoyed this one. This is a solid 8.4 out of 10. If you like this review, watch another one. The platform really likes that. If I haven't reviewed it on a channel, there's a chance I haven't seen it at all. So get them Patreon requests at patreon.com/ASEPresents. One movie review per 1 month. And also, you can help support the daily grindness by going to autisticboobs.com. That's where all my links are. Help support the daily grindiness, so you can go there. And until next time, mint salad saw. I'll see you later, my croutons and bacon bits.